the show. Wait, Leslie Rob said what? Leslie Rob said what? What she said? What? Leslie Rob said what?
Well, hello, guys. And welcome to another episode, guys, of Leslie Said What. And guys, you know, as per usual, apparently, as soon as I hit go live, I get amnesia and forget which episode this is. So it is season 5, episode 8. Okay, look at that. See, I remembered. I'm just a little late, but I did remember. Okay. All right, guys. So as per usual, I am super excited that you guys are here, whether you are listening via podcast or that you're going to hop on here live shortly. Either way, thank you for your continued support of Leslie Said What. Oh my gosh, guys. Literally, can you believe it's been 5 seasons? Like 5 seasons. I started this as just an idea in 2020, like just for fun, because let's be for real, I was lonely in the pandemic. And now it's become 5 seasons later of episodes. So I'm super excited. Tonight's guest, like I always say, is not going to disappoint. She is a great friend of mine. I'm so excited to know her. You guys may have seen her on Board Teachers with me, and you guys may have seen her on her own personal social media, Read Away with Miss K. Either way, guess what? Now you will meet her. Okay, and you will know who she is after tonight. So definitely, as per usual, guys, participate in the comments. We want to hear your questions. Feel free to utilize the comments, because as you know, it makes the conversation more engaging. However, as per usual, we ask that you remember to be respectful and treat others the way you want to be treated. I mean, I felt like so teacher like. I mean, that was like my kindergarten voice that kicked in just now, guys. So anyway, all right, guys, without further ado, I'm going to bring her on tonight. She is talking about top tips for classroom management, which both of us are pretty dorky in the fact that we both love it. But let's bring her on. Anna Kowal. Hey, Anna.
Hello, Leslie. How are you today?
I am so good, girl. I am so excited to have you here with me.
Girl, I am so happy to be here. And I love that you're like, we are going to nerd out hard about classroom management.
For sure. That's just what we do, girl.
By the way, I was jamming hard to your intro music. That is good.
I know, right? My friend Larissa, her husband, get this, no lie, okay, used to work with Jay-Z and Rihanna. I know. I know, girl.
It's not a big deal, but he produced my intro song.
I know. That's what he did, girl. He produced my intro song.
I love
Yes,
that. It's amazing.
Yeah. So shout out to Nick Hughes. Okay. Yes, he is amazing. So yeah. So he did that and he nailed it.
I love it. Like I was jamming on backstage, just dancing. I was like, yes, Leslie, I'm loving this.
Exactly.
So good.
Yeah. He wrote the lyrics and everything and did the beats. I was like, okay, boo, thank you. Mm-hmm.
It's good to have friends like that. I'll tell you
Yes.
that right now.
Yes. He hooked me up.
I love it.
So if you guys can't tell, Anna and I have hit it off since we first met ever, which was actually this past summer when we were filming for Board Teachers during our production week. And again, another thing we geek out on hard is Board Teachers. We love them.
Yes. We love to make content, and it was such a cool experience to be with a bunch of other teacher comedians, making funny videos together, meeting everybody in person. It was like a really good time.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Creativity got to blow up. I mean, it was just awesome.
I remember my jaws hurting from smiling and laughing so much from that week.
That's a great problem to have. Am I right?
It is. I'm definitely not mad about it.
No, not at all. Oh my gosh. We had so much fun.
We really did.
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to whenever we get to do it again, because content, I mean, and just bringing joy to teachers, period. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, it really is fun. We need it. We need it in this career. I tell you what.
Yeah, it's essential. Without it, I don't know how we'd make it. Like, can you believe it? I mean, can you imagine being one of those teachers that's super serious all the time? I wouldn't make it.
I'm like, I don't know how you have classroom management as a serious person, because I use humor a lot. A lot. But there are plenty of serious teachers out there that rock that classroom management. It's just not my style at all.
No, I cannot do it. I cannot be serious literally if you paid me. Like, I could not.
No. Usually my students ask me to just take it down a notch. They're like, can you take it down a notch, Miss K? You're being a little extra. I'm like, thank you. I'm just having a good time.
My students go to is Miss Rob, you tripping, Miss Rob.
Yeah.
Like, or you doing too much, Miss Rob, you doing too much.
Oh, I'm always doing too much. I'm like, would
Mhm.
you? Who doesn't want a teacher that does too much? It's amazing. We're the best.
That's
Sorry,
what
not
makes
sorry.
it fun.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Now this week, no, it was not this week because that just started today. Okay, Leslie, let's focus.
Oh boy, what day of the week is it? Is it Monday?
I know, right? Ever since Thanksgiving, I'm like, wait, what? What day?
Right.
Oh
I
my
don't know.
gosh. Last week I got accused of crashing out. Like, Miss Robbie, I've got to stop crashing out.
Oh my gosh. I
I'm
don't
like, "Ugh."
even listen. They're crashing out as soon as they walk into my classroom door, so I don't want to hear it.
Exactly. Y'all want to talk about crashing out? Y'all be the ones crashing out.
Exactly. I'm like,
Just
you need
saying.
to chill. So I
Exactly. Leave
softly
us
go cry in
alone.
the corner. I love it. I
Exactly.
love
I am
it.
with you, boo. I am with you. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, Anna. So tell us, for those of you guys who don't know Miss K, introduce yourself. Who is Miss K?
So I'm Miss Kowal. I go by Miss K because it's a whole lot easier. I've been a teacher for 10 long years. I know, isn't that every time I say that out loud, I'm like, 10 years? That's a
I
long
know.
time.
It's like
Like,
anytime you can sum up the years you've taught in one word by saying like a decade or something.
and I'm
There you
like,
go.
am I really that old? I didn't realize I was old enough to be teaching for an entire decade, but here we are. I started out teaching high school English, 11th grade specifically,
Okay.
and was like, I love it. I'll never do anything different. And when I moved to Louisville, which is where I currently live, I was like, I'm going to try middle school English because I have never taught middle school and I'm certified. And the first day I was like, I'm never going back to teaching high school. So,
Really?
yeah, like within minutes, I was like, oh, I thought I loved teaching high school, but then I had middle schoolers and I was like, this is so much cooler. I like
That's
it.
so funny.
I know,
Yeah,
I
'cause
love
see,
it. Like, it's just pure chaos and like drama. And they're just for me, they're just so much more like it's just easier to engage them.
yeah.
Especially like I taught 11th graders. They're like, what can I do to get a 60% and get out of here?
Yeah.
Like, that's,
Right
geez.
there.
Yeah.
Now that's funny
So,
because I had the opposite experience. I did the same thing you did. I taught high school, and then when I switched districts because I moved to another state, the only position they had available was middle school, so I had no choice. And I was like, please don't make me. But I did. I taught middle school, and I had the opposite experience. Like 2 days, maybe 3 days in, I'm like, never again. I'm finishing out this year. I'm out. I'm out.
but you survived a year of middle school, which is not what, and not everybody can say that because it's a different breed of child, those middle schoolers.
For sure. 7th grade by far, I'm like lifting.
They're all crazy. They're all going through puberty. Everybody's got raging hormones. I love it.
I thought you were about to say I can't stand it, is what I would have said. And you're like, nope, love it, love it, love it.
Oh, I'm here for the drama. I'm here for the tea. I love it. It's so much fun.
I'm with you. Now I am there for the tea, girl.
Yeah.
It don't matter what grade level I teach.
Right? I'm like, I need to know what's going on. Tell me everything.
Oh, we have somebody in the chat that agrees with you. First of all, she says, hey, Morna. And then she says she
Hi.
loves middle school. So
It's my favorite. And I would like to try elementary school one day because I am a certified librarian K through 12. So I did librarianship for 1 year and was like, I'm going back to the classroom. Like, no, thank you.
you're like,
But middle school's my sweet spot, and I'd like to give the littles a chance one day, but not anytime soon. I'm in my sweet spot with middle school.
oh, I hear you. Now I'm in my sweet spot with high school. I gave the littles a chance. I gave middle school a chance, and I even did adult ed and college level. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm
Okay.
good. I'm
Yeah.
out. I'm out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
middle
can
high
see you totally rocking with like kindergartners. I can see you just like dancing and
Everybody
singing.
says. That's what everybody says. I used to teach literally kindergarten, but no, I don't have the energy. No.
It's got to be exhausting. I mean,
Yeah,
they
and the
got to be
clip,
on.
they're like right there.
Yeah.
Go.
And I can't help someone blow their nose.
Girl.
It's not for me.
And I'm like, my gag reflex could never anymore.
Goodness. Yes, girl.
I'm
I'm right there with
you.
you.
I am so with you. Okay,
Love
well,
it.
tell us this. What brought you to teaching?
So the reason I became a teacher is because I was not the best student ever. Believe it or not, I was a chatty Cathy and got into a lot of trouble because my mouth was open to
No.
me. It's hard to imagine, I know.
Never.
Never. But so I had ADHD, and this was before like we knew a lot about ADHD, especially for girls.
Yeah.
And so my teachers, I wasn't the worst kid, but I wasn't the best. And I never really got a strong connection with teachers.
Yeah.
So whenever I got older, I really wanted to be that teacher that someone could connect with that's not the straight A kid, that's not perfect and doesn't have all those relationships with teachers. So that's kind of why I got into it. And I immediately fell in love with it.
You know
Immediately.
what? Same difference. Like, and that's why teachers like us who geek out or be nerds about classroom management, because that's ultimately why we're there. Like, I know this sounds crazy to most teachers, but I love the tough kids. I do.
Yeah.
It's so much more fun.
It is. I will take the tough kid over like the teacher's pet any day. I'm like, get out of my face, teacher's pet. Get out of my face.
For sure.
Where's the kid that's gonna freak out on me? That's the one I want to hang out with and try to build a relationship with. And because that's so rewarding, you know.
It's
and they need
so
us.
good, and they need it. Exactly, you took the words out of my mouth. Exactly, they need it. There's a reason that they are the way they are. I tell people all the time that difficult students aren't born difficult. That difficulty was birthed from something. Like,
ooh. I love that, Leslie. That's good. Put that in a book. Sell that. Put it on a t-shirt.
Thanks, Carol.
I love that.
Yeah, it's part of my TD.
That's good. I like that. Publish that, girl.
Yeah, because it's like, it's just so essential, like, to keep that in mind, because while the childhood trauma and things that I dealt with growing up would have made me that kid, it actually made me the opposite. So I was the quiet, shy kid who just kind of stayed in the corner, but you do have kids that do the opposite when they go through the trauma that we go through. So
it's fascinating how we all show things differently. So
and
that's one cool about being a teacher is just learning how to talk to different types of humans. Like we're dealing with all sorts of personalities. It's fascinating.
And that's what makes teaching so great. Like that's the good parts about teaching, for sure.
It's never boring.
On any level.
Never.
On any level.
Never.
So, like, our next question was about what grade level you teach, but now you've told us that middle school is your sweet spot. So you answered the question before it came, girl.
That's my sweet spot. And right now I'm teaching all 3 grades, 6th, 7th, and 8th. I love it.
Now, when you're teaching 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, you're teaching ELA or?
So I teach like a reading intervention class, but all our students take me for 9 weeks. So I'm like a related arts class. And so I'll have 6th graders all in the same class, 7th graders all in the same class, and 8th graders.
Okay.
So I pitched the idea. So I used to be ELA, and I was like, we need a reading class where it's a little bit like low stakes and just get kids to love reading again. And so that's what I do. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's like a dream job.
Yeah. Well, and reading is just so essential. Like,
it
is so essential, because that's like the one thing that most teachers always complain about, not in a negative way saying complaining, because it kind of gives it a negative connotation. But what I'm saying is, like, it's the one thing that all the kids seem to struggle with that teachers wish they could help with most. So
yeah. And I think sparking that joy with reading again, and just like we do independent reading for 10 minutes at the beginning of every period. I'm like, get comfy, get your books out. They can read anything they want. It's so appropriate. Cool. Yeah. And they do like a little reading journal entry, and then we move on to the lesson for the day. But it's nice to just see them be like, oh, I liked this book. I finished it today. I'm like, isn't that like so cool that you did that? Like,
oh, that's awesome.
That's cool. Be proud of yourself, you know?
Yeah. And then they get the pleasure of patting themselves on the back and you know, celebrating that. It's just awesome.
It's really cool. So.
Aww. Okay. So in doing all this, girl, I know you have probably had some funny experiences. So you have to tell me, what is one of the funniest experiences you've had in your position so far?
Well, I've had a lot, but I think in general, one of the things I've learned about kids is that you think like, you know, you reteach the same skill over and over again, and you feel there's days where you're just like, man, they're not retaining the information, but they will remember stories that you tell them.
For sure.
And so
for sure.
be careful with what stories you retell sometimes, because they'll be like, I'm like, we've talked about theme every day for 3 months. What's theme? And they're like, crickets. But they'll remember a story I told at the beginning of the year. Like one time I had a student, so I wear lipstick every single day to work. Okay.
Yeah. That's
I
your
just
thing. It's
do.
your jam.
It's my thing. And I tell my students on the first day of school, if I walk into school without lipstick on, it's a bad day for me. Okay.
Something happened.
Don't mess with me. I'm having a bad day. And one kid was like, why? And I was like, because my mom and my grandmother told me that when you put lipstick on before you leave the house, you're going to have a good day. Like, and so I just like, it was kind of, it's just something I always did. And I was like, and it does make you feel good. As soon as you put it on, you feel good. And
I love it.
Yeah. And one of my students, like 5 months later, was like, do you remember telling us about the lipstick thing? This was an 11-year-old.
5 months later.
5 months later, he's like, do you remember the lipstick thing you told us? I was like, yeah. And they were like, oh my gosh, you were right. I put on lipstick last night. I felt amazing. And I was like, don't tell your parents I told you to wear makeup. Like, oh my God. The kid was 11. Like, I don't know what the rules are for makeup and household.
Yeah, so, you never know.
I think just in general, tell them it's funny to see what they remember.
Yeah.
And and it does remind you that you make an impression on these kids even when you feel like you're not. So.
Yeah, no, that's so good. That just cracks me up because like I can literally hear the kids saying, well, Miss Kowal said I could.
Right? I'm like, don't tell your parents. I did not tell you to put on lipstick.
That's not what I meant.
I'm like, stop
sharing a story.
I'm just telling you who I am, not who everybody else needs to be. Come on now.
I feel like I'm an innocent party in this situation.
Like, please don't tell on me.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Well,
I will never forget that.
Well, what's funny is like, even though like that's a funny experience you had, believe it or not, I know this is gonna sound so crazy. So the other day, I was on Teacher Off Duty, like looking at comments and stuff like that, because I work for them as well. Yeah. One of your students was on there and they go and they tagged their friend and they were like, dude, is this Kowal? And somebody's like, the kid's like, what is she doing on here? I was dying. Apparently, you do not have permission from your kids to be on anything on social media without their permission.
What? So they didn't know I had a social media presence until I was on TOD.
That's hilarious.
And they're all finding me and they're like, you didn't tell us that you're famous. And I was like, I'm not famous. I was on a podcast. And they're all like geeking out about it. But I didn't know they were leaving comments. Oh gosh, I hope they're not being
funny. That was hilarious. They're like, is that Kowal? What is she even doing on there?
Like, I was
cracking up because that's how, honestly, one of my kids figured out I was on social media is through TOD when I was on the TOD episode, and they were like, oh my gosh. I'm like, no, I'm not famous. But they equate that to being famous, apparently. I mean, I'll take it. Sure.
Yeah, and they've all been relatively nice about it. Like, I work at a pretty big school, and they're all like, saw you on the podcast. I'm like, cool, man. I'm
You're like, thanks.
I'm like, I didn't know you were watching, but great.
But great. Thanks for your support. But you know what's crazy is like this is literally like one of those like transition moments, because this is like the perfect transition into what we're talking about tonight. Is because, believe it or not, my student was following the podcast and or still is, obviously, but they saw me on there, and it was a kid girl that I have had the hardest time connecting with. He comes in, he's super tough. He doesn't talk, everything is, everything. And so one day he saw me on the podcast and he came up to me and he goes, Miss Rob, oh my gosh, you're on that podcast I follow. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, this is cool. Like, ever since then, it broke the ice.
It did.
Never been the same. Like, our relationship shifted immediately. And I know that some teachers are anti-social media. They're anti this and the other, but believe it or not, what helped me to break through some of the ice, not all students and not in every situation, however, it has legit helped me break the ice with students, because they're like, she's normal.
Yeah.
Like,
she has like a life outside of teaching. Look at that. And those little nuggets that you can find. Like, how are you to know that kid liked liked TOD, but finding a little nugget. And I actually shared this on TOD on recently about like, I found out one of my tough students loved Grey's Anatomy. And I was like, I don't know anything about Grey's Anatomy, but I was on Wikipedia and I was getting some basic plot points down. And then I brought it up to her and we're good now. And it's
I
like,
love it.
And it was that simple. And I struggled with her for months.
Yeah.
And this was several years ago, but like, it just takes that little bit of effort to like dig and find out what that one kid that's like ruining your day, how
Mhm.
can you avoid that? And finding one of their interests does go a long way. That's why I tell like first year teachers, I work for my district. I'm like a mentor teacher for first years.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, you got to do those student interest surveys at the beginning of the year. Like, I know it's cheesy. Don't throw them away. Read them. Actually read them.
Be intentional.
Be intentional with it, because if you can spark you don't know who that kid is yet, but once you find out who that kid is, go find that interest survey and read it.
Yeah.
And figure out how you can connect with that kid, because it could be a game changer for your classroom.
No, for sure. And I totally agree with you. Like, that's honestly how I broke the ice with one of my girls. I was working at this really rough school. Oh my gosh. Like, literally I'm not exaggerating. The first week we were in school, we had a shooting at the football game. Like, literally, like that kind of school. And so one of my girls, like, oh my gosh, she got transferred in my class because another teacher couldn't handle her. And oh my gosh, you can handle her. Congratulations. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, that's what happens to good teachers. So
yes. So they put her in my class and she was so hard to reach. But then one day I heard her talking about Outer Banks, which I do know about.
Ding,
and I
ding,
started
ding.
like little things, and then that built and built and built, and boom, girlfriend is my best friend.
Yep.
Yes, even to this day.
It's just crazy that it could be that simple,
Yep.
I think it's so cool that like I know you and other teachers that do that. Like, I would have loved for a teacher to have done that when I was a kid. Like, I'm a big scary movie buff, which is like, people are always so surprised. I'm like, it is literally my life. Like, I'm the biggest nerd. Had a teacher done that for me, like, I would have been like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. It's thoughtful. So.
Yeah, nope, I totally agree with you. And that's the sad part about it. And I know it sounds like I shouldn't say the word sad, but I know I'm serious. It is sad that the majority of students don't have teachers like that, or it's so surprising,
right,
that they're teachers like that. Like, that's the kind of like, wait, shouldn't it be a little concerning that that like people, oh my gosh, you're an amazing teacher because I care. Like, shouldn't I be teaching 101? I mean,
shouldn't that be like the basic level? Shouldn't that be on the praxis exam? Like,
just a tad,
do
whatever.
You care?
Like, legit. I mean, should be a basic. But yeah, no, I completely agree. So Anna, talk to us. What are some top tips that you have for us about classroom management?
So I'm super passionate about this because you can't teach without it. You cannot teach without classroom management. So my number one thing when I'm talking to younger teachers or early on teachers is that those first 5 minutes of class, if you're middle school and high school, first 5 minutes sets the tone for the rest of the period. You gotta come in exactly the same way every day. Like, and it's monotonous but it gives them a routine, and everybody, including adults, strive off of routine. So my kids walk in the door, they know exactly where they're going. They know exactly what they're going to do those first 5 to 10 minutes. And then it's easy the rest of the period. So I give some examples on what you could do those first 5 minutes. I always have a timer on the board, 5 minutes with like lo-fi beats or music or something calming. And just some sort of bell work. And bell work gets a bad rep. I'm like, something has to be in their hand ready to go. And so I was so hesitant when I first started teaching about bell work. So I was like, that's boring. I'm engaging and fun. But like, no, like, it needs to be level 0. We are quiet. We are not talking for 5 minutes, and then we can have engaging fun. But we're going to start off slow.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Like, let's just ease into it.
Yeah, we're going to ease into it. And like, use your students. I don't care if they are seniors in high school or third graders. They would love a class job.
Yes.
And
yes.
Give them a job. I have like a very simple job application, and there's 3 jobs in my class. Someone who's in control of the pencils, someone who's in control of passing out the folders, and because I keep folders in my room every day because I don't trust them. I don't want to make them lose their homework or
Yeah.
whatever. It's staying in the room.
Oh, for sure.
And then I have a third kid who's just kind of like my TA. And that just runs like they start class by making sure their jobs are complete. They get those pencils out, they get those folders out. I don't have to lift a finger. All I have to do is take attendance, and I'm chilling. So
yeah, see, that's what's up. That's how it should be. It's like a well-oiled machine.
Yes. And I see so many younger, like first, second, third year teachers, not like younger in age, but just, starting out teachers that are just like flying around the room crazy. I'm like, these kids are itching to do those little annoying things that you don't have time to do. Just make them do it. They will do it. And not everybody, but there's always going to be a handful of kids that want to help.
Yeah.
And so, especially like if it's a kid that's a little squirrely and maybe a little hard to get to settle down, give that kid a job.
Yeah,
That
for
kid
sure.
That kid will feel super great about it, and then they're busy and not interrupting other people from doing what they need to do. So,
and I agree with you on that. Now, believe it or not, like I tell people, I know it sounds crazy, but you would probably agree. My toughest kid, if I send him to the office to take something for me, or if I send him to guidance, or if I send him school counseling, good Lord, you can't say guidance anymore, apparently. Whatever. Sorry. One of my best friends is a school counselor, and she will literally crucify me. Sorry, Ellie, if you're listening. Okay. Sorry. School counseling office. I'm sorry. But like, I give my toughest kid the job of going to the main office because of the fact that he feels like, wow, she trusts me. Like, that may not be something he's dealt with before in his home, or that most teachers give him because he has a bad rep. But like when I give him that opportunity to be like, hey, no, I need you to go to the front, he feels like, wow, that's sense of importance. And then like what gets I guess you could say I get a smack on the hand from other teachers about that. It's like, now he's going to wander the halls and he's not going to come back. Actually, that's not true. Because I have a relationship with him, he's not going to disrespect me like that.
Yeah.
I never have a problem with that.
And you gave him a purpose in the hallways where he's like, well, I want to be asked to do. Every kid wants to be asked to do the errand. Every kid. Every single one's like, I want to go to the front office. Yeah. So if it's the kid that's like has a bad rep or whatever, they're like, wow, like if I do well, maybe she'll ask me to do it again. And that's just, especially for a kid that doesn't get that kind of positive attention, that's so important.
Yeah. And I love how that kid is also the kid who's like, Miss Rob, I got your back. I don't want you to get in trouble. Like, so they're like, they know that if they're wandering the hallways, they're gonna be like, well, why you let the student out? Well, my kids are like, Miss Rob, we got you.
Yeah. And that just shows what kind of teacher you are, that they respect you in that way. And I mean, that's, another tip of mine. Like, I hear a lot of teachers yelling a lot, and I was totally that teacher. I worked in a very hard school my first couple of years, and I was just yelling and just little frantic all the time. But like positive reinforcement is probably, it's free. It's so easy once you know how to do it. Because like it's hard at first, but it's like if that kid's acting a fool in the corner, you're gonna find I always tell them, find 3 kids around the kid acting up and shout their name out and say, thank you, Jimmy, for picking up your pencil and writing your name on the paper.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sally, for getting started with your reading. Thank everybody around him and ignore him.
Yes.
Just ignore him.
Yep.
By the third thank you, that person usually has figured out, like, wait a minute, she's giving all these people positive attention. I'm doing bad behaviors because I want attention. Right. I better pick up my pencil. Oh my God.
Yeah. Like, oh my God. Yes. Literally.
Yeah. And so as hard as it is to ignore those bad behaviors, try that first. Try out that positive reinforcement where you're thanking kids or just like giving them a shout out, like, oh, I see you over there doing what you're doing. Like, just ignore it. And that is so powerful. That took me, I'd say 5 or 6 years into my career to be able to really do comfortably.
Yeah.
But now I just do it constantly. It's just
it just comes naturally after a while. Yeah.
And you do have to kind of retrain your brain to think that way.
You do. Because you're like, listen.
Yeah. Sit down and stop talking.
You heard what I said.
I'm smiling.
Exactly.
I'm trying to stay cool. but like it's so powerful, and like to watch it happen, like I'm always like, just come watch me do it. Like you'll just notice. I was like, tally how many times I give out a positive comment versus how many negative. It will always be more positive.
Right. But it makes such a difference.
Makes a
It
difference.
really does.
It
Now,
re-
in the
and people,
go ahead.
sorry, they don't believe me though. They're like, that's too easy. But what do we got in the comments, girl?
Oh no, Deb says, what's the best is when they stay in touch years after graduation and makes it all worth it. It's so true. It's so true.
Deb, let me tell you, this kid, Joseph, hey Joseph, I had him probably like 7 or 8 years ago. And he messaged me recently on social media and was like, hey, you probably don't remember me, but like, I just found you on social media and you're crushing it. I'm so proud of you. Like, an old student of mine was saying he was proud of me. I was like, oh, it's so beautiful.
Love when they reach out, because like it's not like we work in like marketing or in corporate America or in like some big business tycoon job or whatever, where we see the return of our investment in the form of finances or the form of like bonuses or whatever. We may never know the kid's life that we touch. We may never meet or know those things. So when they come back and they see, oh my gosh, it's so blessed. And social media has really helped with it. I know that like so many people are anti-social media. I get it. But I've had so many of my past students find me and they're like, did you used to teach? You know what I'm?
Oh,
Makes my
that's
day.
so cool. And you make a really good point about like corporate America and how they get to see their gains in different ways. We really don't know what happens when they leave.
Yeah.
And so when they reach out, there's literally nothing better. It's like, this is what it's all about, even if
It
it's
makes
only
our
once
day.
in a blue moon. Yeah.
Mhm. Well,
Yeah.
Morna says you were right. Routine, and they will tell you if you messed up early or late with that routine. 100%
Listen,
every time.
that is like one of my pet peeves when they're like, but we haven't done this yet, Miss Kowal. And I'm like, all right, like I was gonna go off the routine for 1 second, and they will correct you. She's right. She's so
Right.
right.
Well, and the thing that gets me is like, okay, because like I'm like you, I do bell work. Okay, fine, guys, I do bell work. I
Yeah.
admit it. All right, I'm
But it
Leslie.
works. It
Exactly. Hi, my name is Leslie, and I do bell work. I'm sorry. Okay.
Love
So
that.
I'm like literally, like it's so I do it as a clock in question, because you know these kids are high school kids, and so a lot of times they may understand workplace verbiage a heck of a lot easier than me hitting them over the head with verbiage, you know, that's classroom based. So
Yeah.
I say you need to clock in for your shift, and so girl, the moment, let me just tell you, the moment that bell rings and that clock in question is not posted, those kids are like, you ain't, so we're not clocking in today. I'm like, give me a second.
I just sat down. My God, let me have a second. But it's
Right.
so funny. But that shows good training. And you do, just like adults, we have to be trained to clock in every day. And like,
Right.
so I love that you call it that. I really think I might steal that and be like, we're
Oh my
clocking
gosh,
in.
you're welcome to it.
I think that's so cute because I try to do a lot of real world stuff too, because reading is reading. I mean, it's not sexy, you know,
No,
like
it's not attractive, darling.
yeah, like
No.
I'm like, this isn't a sexy topic, but I think that's cute to be like, no, we got to clock in and do the work today. Like that's what
Yeah.
we're doing. Yeah.
Well, and that's what helps honestly with my classroom management is like I literally have them clock in for the day, and then that's their obviously bell work, and then they clock out of their shift as well. And
Okay.
throughout the day, because I got sick and tired of fighting kids, like I'm done. If you don't want to do it, boo, you don't want to do it. But think about it just like when you go to work. If you go to work and you don't work, you ain't getting paid. And their grade is their paycheck. So every 2 weeks I update their grades.
Yeah.
And so that's their pay period. And so during that pay period, if they get like a 90, then they have obviously a $90 paycheck. So they accrue PTO with each paycheck. Isn't that crazy?
You are so cute. Like this is classroom management 101.
Yes. So I literally add PTO. They accrue PTO every 2 weeks. And so like if they get a 90, that or obviously anything in an A is 15 PTO, and anything and a B is 10 PTO. Anything below that, they don't get any PTO for that, because you no. A or B, boo, A or B. And so like say if they come in that day and if they broke up with their girlfriend or their boyfriend and is really upset, and Miss Rob, I'm not feeling it today. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. You're not feeling it today. Just like I have a job that I can take time off, you have a job that you can take time off. So if the assignments that day are worth 50 points, then do you have 50 PTO where you can take the day off? So then they do. They get, if they have it, they give it to me and they get to take the day off without pay. Now I know some admin are like, excuse me, I don't care. Listen, you come teach.
Yeah. Listen, if this is what it's going to take to make this a well-run machine, then this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's like, I've seen this, like this concept that you're talking about in a lot of different formats, like, you know, like just basic money. Like I know some teachers have like little dollar bills with like their faces on it and stuff. And it's so cute. But you know, we all have to do some sort of point system, especially when we're teaching in tougher schools or we just have a particularly tough class. Doing some sort of a point system makes a difference. And I love that you make it into a job. I mean, they're all going to have to work one day if they're not already, because they're high schoolers. Maybe some of them already do. So, you know, it's just preparing them for that. And sometimes I wish that school did more of that, preparing for what is it like to have a job. Because I always tell them all the time, they're like, why do I have to be here? I'm like, because it's your job till you're 18, honey. Like, this is your job.
Exactly. You ain't got no choice.
This is it. This is your job, right? You are a student, you know? And so,
I agree.
So it's important to give them those like realistic expectations and stuff like that. So we have someone from the Philippines.
Oh my gosh. She says,
hello.
I'm a teacher from the Philippines teaching here in the US. I love watching your videos. I can really relate and giving me good vibes. That's amazing.
That's so cool.
Oh my gosh.
I saw like the word Philippines out of the corner of my eye.
Corner of my eye.
I was like, we have to stop everything.
Yes, of course we do.
That's
my gosh. Well, thanks for watching. Now, do you get to see us on board teachers, or where is it that you're seeing our videos? So let us know. It's so good that you commented. Thank you.
That's really cool.
Oh yeah, that's so cool. I saw literally. I did the same thing you did. I was like, did you see Philippines?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to tell my students that.
I know, that's so cool. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. But
so like this is one thing that I was going to ask you to talk on, because I thought it was so good. Your video that you made about seating charts, like, and why they're essential, because I know lots of teachers now are anti-seating chart. Now, why are you pro seating chart, Anna? You got to tell us.
So first off, it's routine, right? You know exactly where you're going. And I think that, you know, there are kids that dominate class discussions and the leadership roles in groups, because I always have groups of 4 or 3 like desk arrangements. But whenever I do a seating chart, I think that it also helps the quiet kids have a comfortable, confident space in my room. So I just like the predictability of a seating chart. Everybody knows where they're going. You don't have to worry about getting picked to be a partner. You don't have to worry about like, what's my place in this group, because you're working with them a lot. And I don't switch up my seating charts very often. Like, they work together and build relationships together in their small little groups. And they learn how to be a teammate and how to, okay, well, I'm really good at this. So I'm good at keeping the time. So I'm always going to be the timekeeper. Or they kind of figure out their place in my room fast, because I do a lot of group work. And I just, you know what, like, some kids don't need to be hanging out with their best friends in class. Now it's funny because I had these 2 girls, this was recent, probably 2 weeks ago, and they're like BFFs, and I put them on the opposite ends of the room. Okay.
You're like
opposite ends. I was like, we're not getting anywhere near each other. But one of them was sleeping a lot or just getting really tired. And one day we were having a free day, and she sat with her friend, and I just noticed that they really were communicating well with each other and whatnot. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to put her with her best friend. She's been crushing it in class now. She's super on it. And because she's with her best friend, they're actually working really well together. So
that's awesome.
So my seating charts are very intentional. I usually sit them around like kids that are close in reading levels, because I'm a reading teacher. So they're around kids that are on the same level. So there's, you know, we can build confidence together, because reading is very intimidating for middle schoolers.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
reading and writing,
like, there's just so many reasons to do it. And like to me, there's not that many reasons not to do it. Like I get the argument, but to me, I'm like, there are so many benefits. I just rattled off like 5 different benefits. I feel like, you know,
you're like, and you all are welcome.
Yeah. So get a seating chart going. But
yeah, leave me alone with my seating chart.
But I get I get a new group of kids every 9 weeks, and I always have the seating chart up on my screen as soon as they walk in the door. It's on there before they walk in.
Oh, nice.
This is one of those classes where I have a seating chart. I'm like, yes, it is.
Yep,
show it. It is, and you go sit down.
Yep, and while you over there, go and look and see where you sitting at.
yeah. And I adjust, and you have to use common sense and adjust. And like that girl that was struggling, like, you know, I was like, let me make this small change, and it was a good one. And if it didn't work, guess what? I'm in charge. I just put her somewhere else. Like, it's not a big deal. So
see, and I love that because teaching is trial and error.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand people who are married to their plans. It's not going to work.
Yeah. Yep. I'm like, there's a difference between like being rigid and having routines and structure. Like, you have to be flexible as a teacher, and you have to read the room. You have to understand personalities and what works well and what doesn't. So that's a huge part of classroom management. And you have to be able to tell when like kids are sick of you. Like, you lectured them and they're like, no one's listening. You have to look at facial expressions and
read your kids, like, be present.
Yeah. Be present, and it goes a long way, you know.
Yeah, it makes such a difference.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? It's like I was like we were talking about earlier, how it's sad that people are like, wow, you're such a good teacher. Like, guys, I do the basics. Like, what should be the basics of loving on your kids and caring for them and being present. Like, those should be teaching 101 basics. My sister, one of my little sisters, she always tells me, she's like, oh my gosh, if I had a teacher like you when I was in high school, you know, blah, 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 how much of the difference it would make. I'm like, you didn't have one teacher? Like, you were in school. Wait, okay, don't laugh at me, Anna. How long were you in school? 13 years? K through.
You're like, 1, 2. 13
years. Yeah, 13 years we're in school. And you haven't had one teacher that you remember like that? Come on. Like, come on, guys. We got to do a little better. We got to do a little better.
It's sad. And like, I just felt like my teachers all hated their jobs. Not all of them. They're like, oh, you guys don't like kids. Like,
or you don't like your job or me.
Yeah. I'm like, that's bad. Like, and I have bad days. We all have bad days.
Yeah, we do.
Tell your students you're having a bad day. They don't need to know why. You don't need to like
all the time.
You don't have to like pretend you're on a talk show and you're going to tell them all your feelings. Like, this isn't the Jerry Springer show.
That was so funny. That one reel you did. You like your kids and you're like, so. Like, you start talking to the kid. That is so funny.
Just like, this is about the person who broke my heart. Like, like, you don't have to tell them all that, but you can say, hey, I'm really going through it. And I just kind of need a quiet day today. And I'm not on my, I'm not doing.
I'm not on my A game. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for. I was like, what is that phrase?
Okay. See, I got you, boo. I'm following you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
That basic phrase.
Well, you know, teacher brain. It doesn't take much of us to be like,
Yeah. But, you know, they appreciate that. And instead of me going in there and being grumpy and yelling at them because I'm not doing well, if I just tell them I'm not doing well, they're not going to give me a reason to yell at them. Like, they're going to respect that more than me coming in and being grouchy for no reason and taking it out on them. So
I love that. Like, I'll tell my kids, I'm just not having it today. And they're like, oh, we got you. But it also helps them to feel seen. Like, and I know I'm not saying we need to discuss mental health issues as far as like in depth, but we should let kids know that we also struggle when it comes to sometimes with mental health. Like, sometimes I battle depression. And so sometimes I'm telling my kids, like, today was just not a good day. And they can understand and relate to that. My students who have anxiety, they're like, you have anxiety too? Like, oh my God, you know, like, it really does open up that positivity in a sense, not a toxic way, because God knows toxic positivity. I'm like, listen. But it opens up the conversation so the kids can feel seen and that they understand they're not alone in what they're dealing with, you know?
Right. And we're all humans and we all have hard times and it's okay.
It's okay.
And one thing I do for classroom management is I do teach students about like breathing techniques. I have a little poster in my room with 3 different types of breathing exercises. And I'm like, hey, if you come into school one day and you feel like punching somebody, you can just like go into that corner and do some breathing exercises. I won't. You don't even have to ask me. And it's very rare that a kid goes and does it. But I make my kids do a collective breath all the time. I'm like, we are taking an inhale, exhale together right now. Because I need an inhale, exhale.
Yes.
But modeling those moments when you're frustrated and you're going to do something that would get you in trouble as a student, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
I used to teach kids about doing like a 4-word mantra, like I am super loved, and just saying a 4-word mantra like this over and over again in their head.
I love it.
I don't do it as much anymore, but just having the countdown on your fingers.
That's amazing. No, I'm stealing it. Okay, you stole mine, so I need to steal yours.
Find your, yes, girl, 4-word mantra, and then they can. I told my kids that this was back when I was teaching in the Bronx and I was teaching older kids, and I saw a girl, she was so mad, and underneath her desk she was doing this, and I was like, it was like the best moment. I was like, thank you. Like, she, before popping off, she was like, let me say my 4-word mantra to myself instead. And for some reason, adding this feels good.
Well, and it grounds them, because you know how like with anxiety and stuff, like they say that if you take your shoes and socks off and stand on ground or the grass, whatever, it grounds you. Like same with like even just you doing that, like that motion
feels good.
Oh my gosh. So tell me an example again. So like it could be like what now?
I am super loved.
I am super loved, or I am, so like a affirmation type of thing,
or
like
an affirmation of some sort. Just like, you know, I am fabulous / great. I don't know.
Yeah. Because I am bomb.com.
Yes. And so I learned it at a PD years ago. Like I was at some
PD, the one useful PD. You found it.
Right? This was the one thing I learned in 10 years. Hey, I taught one girl how to do it. She used it. It's perfect.
It was worth it.
It was great. But and it was really, I was like, I actually will use that. And now that we're talking about it, I'm gonna bring it back.
You got me. Like my students, especially some of my kids, like girl, the way that the social media has burned their brains and their confidence and their, oh my God, I'm just like, boo, listen, this would be so good. I love it. Thank you. I'm going to use that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. And like, I think since they like social media and they're, using their hands with text and stuff, it should be good.
You call it a 4-word mantra?
Sure. That's what we'll call it.
We'll call it a 4-word mantra.
Yeah. Just come up and like they could be saying whatever they want to say in their brains. It could be something real wacky, weird, whatever.
Whatever you want to say, love it.
Whatever makes them feel good, right?
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Yeah. Our friend here from the Philippines says, actually, we are 5 Filipino teachers in our school, and this is our 2nd year. We are so happy and proud to share our culture, and I can really say that they find it very interesting, and they can get something to ponder about our different cultures, and they're very interested and amazed. Yes.
That's so cool.
Teachers sharing themselves with their students is amazing. Like incorporating your passions, your what you love to do in the classroom makes such a difference. I put comedy all kinds in my classroom because that's what I love to do.
Yeah.
Like incorporating those passions and stuff, it makes the job even better.
Yes. And it really ties into classroom management. Like they're like, this is so cool. I get to have a teacher from another country who's going to tell me all about this country that they wouldn't know a lot about. Like, and I'm always like, anytime a kid laughs at my corny dad jokes, I'm like, thank you for laughing at my joke. Like, it means something to me. Like,
exactly.
And they're like, you're so goofy. And I'm like, I love being goofy. That's something I've always been like this. And so, I used to try to be like cooler. Like, like when I was like, I gotta be cool. I gotta know what's going on. I'm like, no, I'm gonna be nerdy.
Yeah, like I am what I am. Both of us started off this podcast all kinds of nerdy today. We talking about we both love classroom.
I love it so much.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, this is a little tidbit of information for, I think now correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Elam? Is it Elam? You'll have to tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
But tomorrow, I decided to switch it up a bit with my kids as we're getting closer to winter break. Like I try to do more hands-on fun projects. And so we just did an event planning unit. So my students they're assigned to a group and they have to create a party or event, and they have to put it on in the time frame of our class. And they have to, so it's like a challenge. So they, as soon as they get into class, the bell rings, they have to decorate a certain amount of time to decorate, and then they have to throw the party. So tomorrow they're doing a Filipino themed party. So that is
That's
shout out to
crazy.
you. That's so crazy. Yeah. Because one of my
Leslie,
girls is from the Philippines.
oh, that is so cool. And I want to be a student in your class because that's
Oh my
so fun. I'm like, I want to plan an event. Like, I love a challenge. That sounds
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. And so just like
That's
something
really
you see
cool.
on TV, like one of those like baking things or whatever, or home makeovers, but it's actual party thing. And so they're doing a Filipino themed party. One of my students, her mom is Filipino, and I think her dad is white. I'm not sure, but
Okay.
her mom is coming in to do, I mean, bring it, helping her make the food. They went to the Asian market to get all the food. And yeah, and so the kids are going to be doing paper lanterns and fans and whatever, like a whole bunch of different things, but then also incorporating the Filipino culture in it. So that's so exciting.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
I
And I
love
will
that
say
so
to
much.
Elam, I'm so sorry. My favorite Filipino dish is lumpia. I had a neighbor growing up that was Filipino, used to make it for me all the time. So that was one of my requests to my students for tomorrow. I'm like,
That
can you bring me
sounds
some lumpia?
Yes, you're like, hey, give me some of that.
Can I put an order in?
If not, we'll DoorDash it. It's fine.
For real.
We'll find a place.
Yeah. Oh, she said,
Aw.
wow, we will. I mean, you will really love our food. I'm so happy.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
This
I want to be in
so
your class. I
cool.
want to come to the party tomorrow.
You're more than welcome. Louisville is 9 hours, but you're more than welcome. I'll see you in the morning.
We're doing stations tomorrow, which about identifying textual evidence. So that's not as fun as what you're doing.
I'm like, yay.
We're like, oh, that's so cool, Anna. Wow.
Awesome, Anna.
You could hide it a little bit, Leslie. You could be like, sounds amazing.
More discreet. Anna, that is amazing.
Wow, you are
man,
hitting those
textual-
standards, girl. Standards based
Killing the
learning.
standards. All the standards. You're killing the
She
game.
gave us some food recommendations. Yes.
Ooh, yes, lumpia is the best. And then, oh, she said pancit. Oh, she's making pancit. Pancit.
Ooh,
Yes,
okay.
she is making that. So yes, it's going to be a great day tomorrow.
You
I
need
mean,
to-
it's a great day of learning, not just food.
Super standards. Everything's about the standards.
It's all about the standards.
I know you guys are going to be citing textual evidence at some point tomorrow.
For sure. For sure. We will read the label on the packaging of something that they make.
Yes. Yes.
Sure.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
We will find the textual evidence. Yeah.
I love it.
Do you have any other tips you'd like to share, Anna, before we go?
I mean, like, just keep it positive, be quick with your redirection. Like, you don't need to drag it out. Like, just say, hey, stop that, and then put a smile back on your face and get back to it. Try to ignore those behaviors, routines. Get to know your kids. I feel like that's a good summary right there. Bam.
OMG, we could totally be on the same page when it comes to classroom management.
Yes.
Because there's some people that'll say stuff for classroom management. I'm like, I ain't doing that, but you can.
Yeah.
But
Right.
we on the same page, girl. We on the same wavelength. I knew
and
it.
it matters about your personality too. You got to
Mhm.
use whatever you got to figure out what your personality does in the classroom, because we're goofy, fun,
Yeah.
loud, like to make jokes. So we have that similar personality, and it's not going to look the same for everybody.
No,
but I
and
think-
it's okay.
yeah, and that's okay. But
Yeah, and it's just I just want to caution some of our seasoned teachers who are married to their ways and like are not in a mean way, stuck in their ways, that you
Yeah.
do kind of revisit some of the things that Anna did mention, because they are super helpful, especially if you're trying to make it for the long haul. For me, girl, I got 20 more years to teach. I need to I need to be in survival mode. And
yeah,
believe it or not, once you are connected with your kids and you have that relationship with them, it makes all the difference. Literally
really
makes all the
does.
difference. Yeah.
it really does.
Morna said tomorrow's the day that Leslie will be observed. Believe it or not, I literally plugged in. I invited admin, so that way it's like.
But you know what? Like, you're celebrating cultures in the classroom. Like, what admin wouldn't love that? You know,
Exactly.
I
So I was like,
love
you're
it.
invited. You want to eat? You should come eat with us. So yeah.
Here's a huge plate.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
just,
You deserve to come.
you're not bribing them at all. Not at all.
No, not with some deliciousness. Oh my
I
gosh.
love it.
Well, Anna,
Oh.
last question for you. Any encouragement for fellow teachers struggling with classroom management?
Know that you're not alone, because I think that teaching is
Mm,
a very isolating feeling.
yeah,
Reach out to veteran teachers. Go, like, find the veteran teacher in your school that's still smiling every day and go watch them teach.
okay, boo, that was gold. That was
Yep.
gold.
Go watch them teach. It doesn't matter what grade they teach. It doesn't matter what subject they teach. Go see what a happy teacher looks like in the classroom, so that you can feel encouraged that, like, look, this person's been teaching for 20 years and they still have that smile on their face. Go
Truth.
see what that teacher's got, because they got the juice. They got what's going on. Go talk to them.
Yeah, that was like golden ticket level, girl.
Thank
Willy Wonka
you.
would be so proud. Willy Wonka would be proud, girl. That's a golden ticket for sure.
I love that so much. But that's
That's
what I would
awesome.
say.
Seriously, that's so good.
Yeah, thank
Oh my
you.
gosh. Well, thank you so much, Anna, for being here. Like, literally, this has been one of the best podcast episodes I have ever done. I
I'm having
should
the
have
best.
known. I
Of
should have known.
course, I'm
Like,
having the best time.
for real. Like, when we met in person this summer, we killed it. So we should have known this was going to be fantastic.
So cool. I
Oh
love
my
it
gosh.
so much. Leslie, thanks so much for having me. This was seriously a blast.
Oh no, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I'm so glad that you were here. Guys, if you want to hear more of Anna, see more of Anna, definitely follow her at Read Away with Miss K for her personal accounts. And of course, I know most of you have probably already seen her on Board Teachers.
Yep.
So definitely like check Anna out. Read Away with Miss K, and it's on all social media platforms, just so you know. It's also scrolling here at the bottom where it says follow, and that way you guys can see on all social media platforms. Thank you again, Anna, for being here.
Thanks, Leslie. I had a great time. I'll see you soon. Bye
Okay,
bye.
bye. Guys, it wasn't Anna awesome? I told you. I told you this. Okay, guys, at the beginning of the episode that you guys would not be disappointed. And I'm sure you guys were not disappointed. Yes, Anna gave us some great nuggets and some great tips for tonight. Definitely use them, guys. And if you're like, listen, my teacher bestie could have benefited from this, or you know what? Actually, I could pass this along to a lot of people. Well, definitely do so. Tomorrow on all major platforms, podcast platforms, or actually podcast channels, wherever you listen to your podcast, you can share this episode there or listen to this episode there. Also, if you were like, actually, I'm like a visual person and I need to see the video. Okay, boo, we got you. You can also watch the video immediately after on Facebook or on YouTube tomorrow. All right, guys, as always, thank you all so much for being here. You guys always make my day. Like, literally, thank you so much for your continued support. Thank you for following me. Definitely check out Anna. Now, listen, guys, season 5, episode 8 is out.